Welcome to this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, powered by Mr. Steve Saxenian and the Saxenian family, a loyal rock supporter of the Houston Roundball Review. I wish I could clone him and his family about 10 times over. But you are watching the Houston Roundball Review Takeover. I am, of course, KG Kris Gardner, and joining me is one of my queens, Miss Kennetra Pulliams. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And of course, the Roundball Review Takeover is powered by JM&E. It's available on YouTube, Facebook, FireTV, Twitch, and of course, Roku via the BS3 network. And if you have Roku, KP, do you have Roku?
I don't.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, just download BS3 TV and watch the show like that on the BS3 network. If not, you can just go to bs3network.com or bs3tvlive.com. And I'm happy to say, proud to say, that some of the shows of the lunch break, like this, the Roundball Review Takeover, are available on the BS3 network. Got my own little icon app, and some of the less rage Coug shows, some of the folks talking sports episodes are also available on BS3. Long story short, let's have some fun. Everyone, full disclosure, this show is recorded. It is not live. So you can comment when you watch Thursday during the noon hour. We just know what you're commenting. Okay, just comment. Feel free. That means you could drop some stuff on us and shake your head like, Chris, what the hell are you saying? Or like, KP, I disagree, and whatever. We won't know until after the fact. But that's on you. But you got to pay bills. So that's why we're recording this show on Wednesday night. First, a bit of news for you, ma'am.
Okay.
When you heard this, what did you think when you heard that Woj was retiring from ESPN to go to his alma mater at St. Bonaventure?
Yeah, it's tough. Because if you look at it, that's the second ESPN on-air personality to leave for academia.
Mm-hmm.
So from my experience in this industry, they're getting younger, they're hiring cheaper. So, he's maybe going somewhere with, some familiarity, the fact that he's an alumnus and, still holds his university in high regard. You go where there's job security because TV is fickle.
True.
So.
And I'm going to read this because some folks do listen to the show rather than watch it. ESPN senior NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski has agreed to become the general manager of the men's basketball program at St. Bonaventure. Woj is a proud St. Bonaventure alumnus and has a strong relationship with the program, including as a fundraiser for the school's collective in recent years. The GM role has become more common in college basketball in recent years, as the transfer portal has made wholesale roster turnover an inherent part of the sport. The role includes name, image, and likeness allocation, recruiting, and supporting successful Bonnie's coach Mark Schmidt. KP is take that off and then put us back on larger. Full disclosure, I would have no problem, and I would gleefully accept if my alma mater offered me a similar position as GM of the Houston Cougars men's basketball program. So as you're watching this show on Thursday, hint, 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 I don't know, there are some folks over there who have
open for business,
who share some duties similar to a GM. But if you want to make it a full allocation GM and you want to say you have somebody in mind, I volunteer myself for the job as long as we can agree to a salary, and I'm pretty sure that will not be a problem. So, but there's
no relocation costs.
All of that
can start immediately.
Sure could. I love my school. I have a lot of contacts. I know basketball. I know I'm in the NIL landscape. I'm just saying, putting it out there, Coach Kelvin Sampson and others out there who know me and have worked with me and respect me and respect what I do and appreciate what I do and say that I'm fair and all of that. Just putting it out there if you want. Because I'll say this, KP, on the football side, I know the Rice Owls have a general manager.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the trend.
So it is the trend. So I'm just putting it out there. Coach Sampson and other coaches on staff, whatever. I'm shifting gears on slide. Well, I also want to say this. Salute to Woj going out on his own terms, leaving on his own terms, landing on his own feet, getting to work for his alma mater. I won't say what percentage of his tweets are about the Bonnie St. Bonaventure,
Mm-hmm.
but he puts it in there as often as he can. So salute to him. It is a pay cut. He's making like almost $7 million per at ESPN, but peace of mind. He said that he was tired. He was not looking forward to another season of NBA of only getting 3 hours of sleep.
Right.
I mean, good for him. God bless.
Yeah.
Because that is not.
You go into a welcoming environment with like-minded people and warm, fuzzy feelings, and then you're just worried about one team.
Yeah.
And making that team and that program and that department as good as it can be.
So
you're not having to, just be on call constantly.
And that's one. It's part of. I'm not Woj, clearly, but one of the issues. My umbrella, the Houston Roundball Review umbrella, is so vast because I don't just cover the Cougs.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I cover Rice and TSU and HCU and the Big 12 and the American and the NCAA men's and women's teams. So, I mean, it's a lot of stuff. So it's a lot of my play by choice. But I would have no problem if my plate got lighter, my workload got lighter, my sleep habits improved, and so did my peace of mind and my bank account, honestly. Security would be first to foremost right there. But also Coug related on this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover. KP missed Pulliams last Thursday on the lunch break. He had not made it official yet, but 2 hours, or roughly an hour and change after the lunch break aired last Thursday, throughout the show, I said that 5-star recruit from Idaho, Mr. Isaiah Harwell, would announce at 2:05 p.m. Central Time he was going to commit to the Cougs. Well, bam! At 2:05, roughly 2:08, 2:10, whatever, young Mr. Harwell made it official, and he announced his commitment to the Houston Cougars. He is the highest-rated recruit to sign with Coach Sampson. Heck, I think he's the highest-rated recruit to sign with the Cougs men's basketball program ever, since they've been recruiting, keeping track of the 5-star ratings, all that kind of stuff. But anyhow, salute to him, and I still have plans and hopes to interview him to get his thoughts. I've already talked to his dad, so we're trying to make it work. So putting that in the universe as well. But he's 6'5", 6'6", 190, 195, 200. He can shoot. He's an elite shooter. And one comparison that I read last week, I mentioned to you, is Jamal Murray. So you hear that. What does that indicate to you as his skill set, potential skill set?
I mean, I think a versatile player, somebody who is comfortable with the ball in his hands, but also knows how to be impactful in the offense without the ball in his hands. He's not a ball watcher. He can still get into the flow, and he's not just stuck standing and watching.
And he's won for USA basketball, so he's been in that pipeline. He's won gold medals there, so he can play, to your point, with better players, with the ball, without the ball. He's a winner. He likes to be coached tough.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to play defense. I mean, this is a Kelvin Sampson kind of player right here. I mean, you know, but KP, I want to say this. It was asked of me last Thursday by a viewer.
Mm-hmm.
One young man, Shelton Henderson, is a Houston area product.
Okay.
Goes to Bel Air High School.
Mm-hmm.
So HISD product. His dream school is Duke. The last couple of weeks, Duke has kind of cooled on him in their recruitment of Shelton. Shelton this past season was a finalist for the 2024 Guy V. Lewis Award.
Mm-hmm.
Goes to the top boys high school player in Greater Houston. Shelton has visited the Cougs, unofficial visits plenty of times. Apparently, the commitment of Mr. Harwell has, how can I help me say this? Has
Intrigued?
cooled the Cougs' interest in young Mr. Henderson. So I'm not saying the door is shut on Shelton Henderson becoming a Coug, because last week when I was asked, with Duke backing away from Shelton, did it improve the Cougs' chances of getting Shelton to commit to the Cougs? I said, yes, it would make sense to me. Well, after that episode aired, basically someone told me, in the words of Mr. Lee Corso, not so fast, Kris Gardner. Don't necessarily think that that's going to improve his chances of becoming a Coug. And I was like, oh, all right. So as everyone watches this show, like I said, the door is not shut on Shelton becoming a Coug. I'll just say, don't be surprised if he does sign elsewhere. And last week,
and then transfers in.
I'm just, anything's possible. He can go to Louisville, get the NIL money, realize, gee, this is not where I want to be. After a year, Coach Sampson, I'm homesick, man. Can you? I mean,
can you make room for me?
You make room for me next year, Coach. I'm just saying, just putting it out there, because there are other Cougs, official visits for the Cougs. I think even one this weekend for a prominent young man who's a point guard, a true point guard. Shelton is like a jack of all trades.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's like 6'4", doesn't shoot well from the outside, doesn't really have a natural position in college.
Mm.
So, but he's talented, so you can make it work. But I'm just saying.
But can you though?
That's what I'm saying. So there is some question about that with the Cougs.
It's about
upgrading
fit.
The talent overall. Is there still a fit for him in 2025? So I'm just putting it out there. Like I said, it was put to me not so fast, Kris. So I had to take a step back and backtrack on my words there just a bit.
It's like every year. It's all about roster manipulation.
Yes. So don't shoot the messenger.
No.
I'm just telling you what I was told. Okay, fans.
Yeah,
so
who's transferring out? Who's going pro? Who's transferring in? And what's it worth to you?
And well put, because keep in mind, as a 5-star player, Isaiah Harwell for the NBA draft class of 26 is one of the top shooting guards projected for that draft class. So Isaiah might be one and done. So if he's one and done, a spot might open up. Hey, Shelton, if we saw your name in the portal, come on down, Shelton. Just saying, just putting it out. That's I'm just saying that right there. So,
and I'm not saying any school would tamper per se, but even before a potential student athlete thinks about transferring, the network
Hey,
of my
this
people call your
right.
people
This is
and just put a
business.
little bug in your ear like,
Yeah, this is
we'll make room
business.
for you.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden, somebody who wasn't initially in the portal,
yeah.
hmm,
I'm just saying. You cover sports long enough to know you're a smart woman. You know what's going on. You know how things work. Okay, speaking of how things work and money, what are your thoughts on this? Tennessee increases ticket prices by 10% to help pay athletes. In what is believed to be the first arrangement of its kind, won't be the last,
yeah.
Tennessee fans for all sports will be charged a 10% quote unquote talent fee on tickets to help pay athletes as part of the new revenue sharing plan set to begin in 2025. Right there. That's right there. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a slippery slope because it's like it starts here. Like, what is enough to charge? Is it 10% this year, and is it 12% next year? Does it go to 20%? Like, at what point are you not only charging season ticket prices and individual student, but even like your student body, like the student admin fee or their all sports. I mean, how much do you charge for student fees for these students who don't necessarily have jobs, but they want to support their school? Like, so what is it a flat 10% for all tickets? Is it a smaller percentage for students as opposed to alumni, as opposed to boosters? If you are at a certain tier in giving for alumni, do you then are you charged a lower percentage because you're already giving extra
Mm-hmm.
towards the foundation or the collective or the NIL? Like, how do you regulate what somebody is charged or pressured or encouraged to give to pay for these student athletes?
Great points. And courtesy of Chris Lowe at ESPN, it's nice of Tennessee. They shared this info via email. AD Danny White did a video presentation in the email to explain everything. But in addition to the 10% increase on all ticket invoices, season tickets, and single game purchases, as well as donations for those seats, Tennessee will add an average increase of 4.5% on all football tickets. The NCAA revenue sharing plan scheduled, that's the key word right there, scheduled to begin in the fall of 2025 is part of an ongoing settlement discussion between the NCAA and power conferences in the House versus NCAA case that would allow schools to share up to $22 million of their annual revenue with athletes. In preparing for those added costs, schools are becoming increasingly creative in how to raise money. And many college leaders believe the revenue sharing model recently proposed is only the beginning, with collective bargaining coming at some point. I'm going to stop right there, get your thoughts on that.
Like I said, it's just it's murky is what it is. Because then what happens when it's an amenities race, when you need a new stadium or a new locker room or a new student activity center or housing, but then you're asking your boosters, your donors, your alumni to donate to that and contribute to that. Oh, by the way, we're also raising ticket prices. So like, you're just, some of them can afford it, but some of them, like, how much is enough when you're asking somebody to give to support their alma mater?
I'm curious because how it's going to work. Because Tennessee Vols, volunteer fans, Lady Vols as well,
Mhm.
they are obsessed with their athletics. So I wonder how many of them will even blink an eye at these increases in prices. There will be some
Mhm.
who will cut off their right arm to donate, but there'll be others. I just can't do this. And I mean, as you said, when is enough enough? Yeah, we're winning, and yeah, I bleed orange, but I just can't do it. So I'm kind of curious how this is all going to play out. But more to it. Instead of simply raising ticket prices, school officials said they wanted to be clear and transparent as to why this increase is occurring and where the money is going. Ticket renewals will start Thursday, so that's September 19th, and run through the end of February. This is nice of them, KP. Tennessee is offering fans a chance to spread out their payments over 10 months to help absorb the cost increase. Isn't that lovely? In 2025, the cheapest season ticket for home football games, including taxes, the required contribution, and talent fee, will cost $453.75 in the family section, which is in the upper deck. Student ticket prices doubled this season from $10 to $20 per game, and it will increase to $25 in 2025. Last but not least, this is it. With additional scholarships being added in sports, football is going from 85 to 105. Schools opting into the new revenue sharing plan will need approximately $30 million to cover the money going to athletes and cost of the additional scholarships. So initially, on the low end, it was $22 million for the revenue sharing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the low end. That's the floor.
Right.
Schools who can afford it are probably going to spend on the high end, which is the $30 million. So personally, even if I'm hired, when I'm hired as GM of the Houston Cougars men's basketball program and going out to raise money and fundraise for NIL, I don't know how my school is going to afford to pay the $22 million, the low end, let alone the $30 million. What do you think?
I mean, because then it's just like, again, the brilliant minds who are tasked with coming up with this proposal and this model need to remain creative and visionary, because, okay, so you're adding 25 scholarships to football. How do you stay compliant with Title IX?
Yep. Well, yeah.
And if you're raising ticket prices for football, like, so what about the Lady Vols? They haven't been as successful as their storied history, but also they do have a very competitive softball team. So how much are ticket prices going up proportion, for softball,
mm-hmm.
and how many scholarships are being added for softball?
And women's basketball, Lady Vols basketball, clearly they haven't been the same.
No.
Since Pat Summitt passed away, but even before she passed away and her health declined, the last time they made the Final Four wasn't Candace Parker still playing there? I mean, has been that long? I think so.
The thing is, you also, not just ticket prices to fund the scholarships and to pay the players, coaching contracts. Every time you hire a new coach or coach gets an extension or a raise, like, where's that money coming from? Board of Regents, they got to sign off on it, but still, are you hitting up Candace Parker? Are you hitting up Peyton Manning? Peerless Price?
Because Danny White, the AD, he's received a raise. I think baseball manager, coach received a raise. On and on. That's Tennessee. And Tennessee, Neyland Stadium seats 100,000 plus.
Mm-hmm. What's going to happen is it's going to become corporate with naming rights.
And they have a deal with, I'm not going to say the company because they're not paying us to do anything, right. Like a 20-year agreement that was announced recently for maybe logos on the football field, something like that. But it's all adding up, and that's Tennessee. one
Right.
of the national brands in college athletics, college football, baseball, everything. Compare that to my university, we're poor. You know, newsflash, viewers, we're poor. Okay. We don't have a lot of Tillman Fertittas who are willing to donate. Even Tillman's not willing to donate ad nauseum. You know, no more blank checks. We don't have enough of those wealthy contributors.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why certain changes in coaches have not happened yet. I'm not going to say what any sport in particular, but you know, KP and folks
But
who watch it.
again, University of Tennessee, that brand, it's really the only game in town in Knoxville.
Yes.
You can't really compare Tennessee to Houston. You have an urban, a large city versus a rural community. You have, I mean, in the state of Tennessee, how many pro sports teams do you have? 2?
We got the Titans and the Predators, right? Is there a women's soccer team? I don't know. Is there?
I don't think so.
Okay. Let's go right there. You brought it up. We're going to tie it all together. I'm going to really tap into your vast knowledge because I know you can do it. There is discussion about, or there has been scuttlebutt about the WNBA going to Tennessee, going to Nashville for a possible 16th WNBA franchise. Well, the 15th WNBA franchise has been awarded to Portland. I'm trying to maintain objectivity and everything. I'm going to go ahead and read this before I cry on your shoulder. The WNBA announced today, Wednesday, that it has awarded Portland, Oregon League's 15th franchise. The Portland team, set to begin play in the 2026 season, will be owned and operated by Raj Sports, led by Lisa, I don't know how to pronounce that last name. Let's go so Bahafal. And if I'm correct, she's should be hyphenated, Mirage, and her brother, I think it's her brother, Alex Bahafal. Portland is the third expansion franchise awarded by the WNBA during this round of expansion, following the Golden State Valkyries and the Toronto franchise, bringing the league from 12 to 15 teams. Lisa will serve as controlling owner and WNBA governor, while Alex will serve as alternate governor. The Bahafal family, Lisa, Alex, and their parents, Marta and Raj, brings more than 50 years of experience in the pro sports industry, including serving as investors of the NBA's Sacramento Kings and controlling owners of the National Women's Soccer League's Portland Thorns. Miss Mirage's husband, Richard, will also join the buyer group as an investor and executive board member of Portland WNBA. Mr. Mirage is the chief executive officer of MIG Capital, LLC, an investment management firm he co-founded, blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
Again, you're not paying me about that stuff, But the team will play its home games at the Moda Center in downtown Portland. The new team marks the WNBA's return to Portland after more than 20 years. The Portland Fire played 3 seasons in the WNBA from 2000 to 2002. Stop.
Full stop.
Full stop. Everybody, KP, you know where I'm going. Viewers, y'all know where I'm going. Give me your comments. I really want your comments on this when you watch this show. A founding franchise, one of the original WNBA franchises, the only team to win 4
Dynasty.
consecutive WNBA championships. As KP said, a dynasty, the league's first dynasty. And you go to Portland, who had the Fire for 3 rinky-dinky seasons, because I don't even think they were successful 2 of those 3 seasons. But
Right.
you don't want to return to your first true dynasty, the Houston Comets, the city of Houston, H-Town. Please, 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 Kennetra Pulliams, make it make sense to me.
Yeah. How do you recycle? And money talks, I guess, but how do you recycle a city that was a blip on the WNBA radar, and you not award, you reward them an expansion franchise? But again, is Houston too saturated with teams? I mean, because yes, Houston and the Comets proved that they could win and sustain winning. But that's 30 years ago, thereabouts. So how do you, if you brought them back now, what would attendance be? And if attendance isn't great, if the product on the court isn't great because you're trying to rebuild that, then do you have the "I told you so's," the haters saying, "See, why'd you bring him back? We had enough to care about." So I mean that's the unknown, until you get a collective group of investors who are going to put up their money to show that they are committed and that they believe in this, and for a 5-year plan.
Hold that thought. Bottom of the hour, a little bit past bottom of the hour. Going to play a promo to remind everyone, or to let folks know who are new to this show, what the BS3 Network is all about. You are watching me, KG, she, KP, on this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover, sponsored by the Texanian family, powered by JM&E via the BS3 Network. Be back in about 35 seconds.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Welcome back to this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover, sponsored by the Texanian family, powered by JM&E, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, FireTV, Twitch, and Roku via the BS3 Network. KP, got to get Roku. Just if you have your Roku streaming device, just download BS3 TV. If you don't, you can go to bs3network.com or bs3tvlive.com. Before the break, we were talking about the news that the WNBA has awarded/rewarded, KP's great word, the city of Portland, Oregon, the 15th WNBA franchise. That team will begin playing in 2026. Why can't the city of Houston get a WNBA franchise to be franchise number 16? before the break, KP made a great point. Need to put a group together, a group of deep-pocketed people willing to invest, willing to understand or take time, at least 5 years, to reestablish a fan base, invest in facilities, invest in the team, the players, the league, marketing, all those things. One more time, or new hand. Oh, you raise my left hand this time. Because my right hand is going to the Cougs as general manager of men's hoops. But my left hand, for anybody willing and interested in a Houston WNBA franchise, I'd love to be part of that as well. My love and appreciation and respect for women's hoops runs deep. And I know my ties to women's basketball are as long as the Nile. I mean, my goodness gracious. And I'm not going to say, I'll tell you off the air, but recently at a function, discussion about a Houston WNBA franchise was brought up. And one of the people said, let me think about it. I know some folks. See who knows some folks who have money, who might be interested in making this happen, Kris. So let me see. And I will keep you in the loop. Mm-hmm. And I said, all right, do that. I did some digging and gave them some information, and we'll see what they do with it. So just put that out there as well.
How long ago was this?
Oh, less than 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yes. And speaking of the WNBA, or I'll say this as well, for those who wonder or don't know, once again, I was invited to be one of the voters for some of the Women's Hall of Fame college basketball awards, position awards, like the point guard, top point guard, mm-hmm. the Nancy Lieberman Award. Sorry, Cheryl. Oops. And the power forward Katrina McClain Award. So it might be a chance to vote for a third award too. So yes, this is national awards, and the committee reached out to me to see if I was interested in doing it again. Duh. Heck yeah. I mean, of course I'm going to be. Sure. Just let me know what I need to do. Yeah, of course. But continue the women's hoops conversation here on this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover. September 19th is the last day of the WNBA regular season. One spot remains. A battle for the 8th spot. The Atlanta Dream hold that spot right now. 1-game lead over the Mystics and the Sky. Look at the matchups on the last day of the season. The Sky have a tough one. They're at Connecticut. Connecticut, they really need to win that game, because if they lose and the Aces win, I think the Aces own the tiebreaker over Connecticut and could move to the 3rd seed. So I say all that to say I think Connecticut's going to try to win. So sorry, Chicago. Sorry for your luck. But KP, similarly, the Atlanta Dream win, they clinch the 8th spot. But look who they play. Mm-hmm. They play at New York, the Liberty, the team who has already clinched the best record in the W this season. KP, do you think the Liberty will play their starters?
That's what I was wondering. Is like, yes, they'll play, but how much will they play?
Yes.
Hey, just get out there, treat this as a controlled scrimmage. Just so that you're in playoff shape. Run your plays. Okay, but like don't go all out. Yeah. I'm not saying slack, but just play a controlled
load management.
Yeah,
KP, load management, WNBA style.
Mm-hmm.
Because if Atlanta wins that game, guess who they play in the first round of the WNBA playoffs starting on Sunday, September 22nd?
New York?
The New York Liberty. So could be an intriguing matchup on Thursday the 19th. They could see each other again and not have to even go home because the first round of the WNBA playoffs is a best of 3, and the first 2 games are hosted by the higher seeded team. So New York would have those first 2 games. Game 1 and game 2 will be in New York. So the dream could just stay there. I mean, really. So I am curious to see how many minutes Brianna Stewart gets, Sabrina Ionescu gets, Jonquel Jones gets.
Right.
I'm kind of curious about that. The Mystics, they're at home. They're hosting the Fever. Indiana Fevers already clinched a playoff spot. At worst, they'll be 500 this season with a loss. I'm not sure about this one. If they finish tied with Phoenix, I think the Fever still owns the tiebreaker on that. So I think they'd be okay, but I'm not sure of that. But with the Mystics, I'm kind of curious. Will the Fever rest Caitlin Clark?
No.
Kelsey Mitchell?
No.
You say that with confidence. You said that with the quickness too. Why you say that?
It's just because of the eye test, and you gotta satiate the fans and give them what they want. They're coming to see Caitlin, so
true. But I mean, they've been to DC once before this season. I think they even played at the Wizards' home court. I think.
But again, sometimes for some fans, this will be their first time seeing Caitlin in person.
True, but from I want to rest my players and don't risk injury perspective, KP might play the jump ball, play 2 minutes. Thank you, fans. Y'all saw me. I'm going to sit down the rest of the game. You don't think that's going to happen? No?
No.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Who is your team to beat in these WNBA playoffs?
I mean, I like the Aces.
I have no problem with that.
With
the MVP.
With the MVP Asia, yeah.
Do you believe Asia Wilson will be a unanimous choice for the NBA MVP?
That's hard. I mean, because as much as you want to say journalists are objective and have integrity, I would not put it past someone just to say I had a hand in not letting her be unanimous. I could see that happening.
I mean,
last
year somebody voted her 4th. I mean, on their ballot. So, I mean, first WNBA player to score 1,000 points in the season. Most total rebounds. Total, not average. Angel Reese fans, so don't get me mad at me. But you picking the Aces as a team to beat, and they are the 2-time reigning champs. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to put my hat in the Minnesota Lynx hat. I think I'm going to toss my hat in the Lynx. Yeah, okay. I think so.
Why is that?
Even though if they do win the championship, they'd be their 5th. WNBA title, and passing the Comets, tied for 4th. I'd hate that. But Nafisa Collier, any other season, she'd be the WNBA MVP of the league. Their defense is solid. Their offense is solid. They just check a lot of boxes. The Aces are playing much better now.
Yeah.
Defensively. And that's why they're 8-1 the last 9 games. And I think, let me look at it again. That 2-3, that could be a 2-3 matchup, right? Ooh-wee. So the semifinal? No. Okay, so if the Aces move to the 3rd seed with that, I think, I'm not sure. I could be wrong. If they own tiebreaker over the Sun, they might not. But if they do, I'd hate that. I'd hate to have Lynx and the Aces playing the semifinals. Because I think that's the two best teams playing in the league right now. That'd be a great championship matchup. But it's good to talk WNBA hoops. It will be even better to talk WNBA hoops in the city of Houston. I'm also putting that out there in the universe. Just saying. Okay. Let me see. A few more minutes here. All right. This bit of information came down from ESPN and Yahoo Sports. I think Ross Dellinger from Yahoo Sports was the first one to break the news. But ACC, Clemson, Florida State renewed talks on revenue distribution. Talks between Clemson, Florida State, and the ACC have ramped up in recent weeks, according to sources, on a proposal that would allot a greater share of revenue to schools based on brand valuation and TV ratings, as well as potentially alter the expiration of the league's grant of rights, which currently runs through 2036, in exchange for the Tigers and Seminoles dropping their lawsuits against the conference. I'll read this and then we'll talk about it. According to multiple sources within the league, the conversations are preliminary and the sides are not close to an agreement, but the conversations represent a strong signal that Florida State and Clemson are open to remaining in the conference under more favorable financial terms. Thoughts, Ms. Pulliams?
How attractive is the Seminoles brand?
It's tarnished a great deal. So are you saying that has been a motivating factor from FSU land to maybe we should stay where we are?
I don't know if it's motivating. It's been a contributing factor because they're searching for answers right now. So they don't have as much leverage as they had this time last year.
True. Mike Norvell.
So
it's amazing.
You lose to your former employer.
A group of five school. It's still a group of five school. And look bad doing offense is awful. The quarterback play is awful. The offensive line is awful. The defense seems lost. Our defensive line was supposed to be a strength, getting pushed around all over the field. The tackling is awful. You just pick it. They're minus like in every phase of football. Yeah. That's why they're 0-3.
Yeah.
From an ACC perspective. All right. What are your thoughts? Are you okay from the other schools in the conference? Would you be agreeable to revenue sharing based on TV ratings?
I mean, I would think the other schools would have to wonder what's in it for them. Like, why should they give up a percentage of whatever? Why should they hand over? Because if Clemson and Florida State wanted to take their ball and go home, bye. Like, whatever. Now, all of a sudden, oh, wait, you thought somebody was going to go with you or somebody was going to beg you to stay? Wasn't necessarily the case. And now you want to, we're just playing. We're willing to say kumbaya and listen if you really want us to stay.
It's like
we were just playing.
A Seinfeld episode where George quit and they came back the following Monday. Oh, I didn't mean that. Y'all thought I was serious about quit. Oh, no. I was just, my sense of humor.
Right.
But this other thing is strange to me. Why would ESPN, heck, the ACC want to modify the current grant of rights? I don't understand that at all because ESPN would have to pay more to the member schools as part of the renegotiation or changing modification of the grant of rights. They supposedly, according to reports, can decide by February of 2025 if they want to extend the grant of rights through 2036 or let them in 2027. So why would you do that? And why, as a conference, would you want to open up a Pandora's box of grant of rights, which could just mess it up for every other conference?
And then are you, anytime a member institution gets their feelings hurt and they call your bluff and threaten to leave, then do you have to modify the terms to appease them to stay?
It's a bad precedent. It's an awful precedent.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mike Norvell losing to his former boss, Memphis, folks who wonder who we're talking about, Memphis is in the news again. If you're Memphis and Tulane, would you want to leave the American Athletic Conference, who has a good deal with ESPN, linear and streaming, to travel farther to go to the PAC conference, PAC 6, 8, 10 conference,
right,
and still be a G5 conference?
I mean, it's kind of the same way, with Stanford now. I mean, the conference out west. You'll still get a certain number of home games, but yeah, it's half your schedule. You're not regionally aligned to play your games, and while that's not necessarily as big of a deal in football because you play once a week, it's the other sports. It's the Olympic sports that you just wonder, in your athletic budget, what is it costing you, and what does that affiliation, how much is it making you to have a higher profile affiliation in a power conference, and what percentage of
the PAC's not going to be a power conference.
Eventually, I don't know how long it's going to take, but when all the shuffling is done and when it all settles and you have super conferences,
okay,
there won't be group of fives anymore.
And from a PAC perspective, I can see Memphis, because Memphis has that package deliverer. I'm not going to say their name because they're not paying me.
The courier service.
The courier service. They're not paying you either. If you want to, feel free. Hey, real talk. If y'all want to advertise here on this show, any of the Houston Roundball review shows, very easy to do that, right there. And I'll plug you all day long if you come up with the dollars. True. Still might not keep me from becoming the general manager of the Houston Cougars men's basketball program. Just saying, but money talks. I'll haggle. But Tulane, their enrollment is so small. Tulane football has been bad for years, traditionally bad. Coach Fritz got it rolling the last few years, and I forgot the current head coach. They're trying to maintain it. But is that a plus? Is having Tulane in the PAC conference, does that make sense from a media partner perspective? Adding a school that doesn't have great attendance in football. I mean, it's New Orleans. It's a great city, but ratings-wise, is it do anything for you?
Yeah, and as far as a TV market, it's hard. What does New Orleans really bring you?
Yeah. So, because I'm curious to see what's going to happen. The American is reportedly making in discussions with Air Force, get Air Force to join with Navy and Army. I think that would be a plus for media rights. Get the military academies, from marketing perspective. Or what about the Olympic sports? Would you bring those sports as well, to the conference? I'm curious how that's going to play out. It's above my pay grade. Salute to everybody for once again shuffling it never died. College realignment, it'll never die. So salute to the pack for poaching 4 schools: Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State. Well, I guess get those state schools,
So you're changing what the P stands for in the name?
I mean,
the Poaching Athletic Conference.
Yeah. But business is business, and if Air Force leaves, then the Mountain West is gonna have to go take a step down and poach schools and on it goes. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up in this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, sponsored by Steve Saxenian and the Saxenian family, and also powered by JM&E, Andre A.J. Jones, the man who put us all together, me, KP, and Willie Gibson, and Adolphus Moore, and giving us the platform to share our insight and knowledge and opinions with the audience. So thank him as always. KP, how can folks find you on the social webs?
On the social platform with the bird at K Pulliams.
And you can find me still, but more. I like the Houston Roundball Review more platforms than IG and Threads. So let me pull that up right here. I'm not even going to acknowledge the bird dude, but IG, Threads, TikTok, yes, even TikTok. Still haven't sung or danced yet on there, and I won't. But Inspoutable at Houston Roundball Review. So as always, everyone subscribe to the Houston Roundball Review on YouTube. I want to thank Miss KP Kennetra Pulliams for agreeing to join me to record this episode. And we will do this again in the future because my schedule may change and make it necessary again to not go live on Thursdays. So KP, thank you as always. You take care. And everyone, keep this in mind. Always remember this. Since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review. Local name, global perspective. Everyone, take care. Peace.